Hey everyone, welcome to another Outdoor Intrigue video. I wanted to bring you a bit of a gear video today. We all like our gear videos. Everyone wants to know what everyone else carries in their pack and what they're using. So I thought this would be a good time to bring you a bit of an update, because we're off on an adventure this weekend out in quite a remote part of the Scottish Highlands. So yeah, we've got all our kit ready anyway. Why not take advantage of having it out and show you what we're taking with us? We're going to be out doing a wild camp adventure. We're staying up high. We're going to be doing 12 Munros, which is mountains over 3,000 feet. And so we're going to be very exposed to quite windy conditions. It's currently the beginning of autumn, so it's really quite mixed conditions. You can get anything from snow to rain. We're going to have air temperatures as low as -4 this weekend, with a wind chill of -10 up high. So you've got to kind of prepare for all those different scenarios. One thing to tell you as well is that my gear, because I go with Megan, who's standing behind the camera, we're kind of a partnership. We tend to always go together. Our gear is very much symbiotic, or at least when we're packing to go on a trip together, we always make it symbiotic. So obviously we're trying not to overlap on things that we carry. Naturally, if I'm going to take a stove, she doesn't need to take a stove, she'll carry something else. So the weight is kind of split between us in a relatively even way. And most of the things you'll see on my side cover off pretty much the same as what I would take on my own, minus maybe one or two small things that Megs might be carrying. So at some point I'll convince her to do a review of what gear she's taking, and you can kind of see then the balance between them. But I'll start off showing you, everything that I'm going to be taking with me and tell you a little bit about the items. I'll start off with the pack, which is pretty new to me. Actually, I've only been out on one trip recently. So far, I feel very positive about it. It's a frameless pack from a Norwegian brand called Bonfus. Check them out. They're pretty new and they seem to be doing some quite cool stuff. It is very light, and I like the fact that it's DCF and has taped seams, so it's waterproof, water resistant, which is really positive, and I like a lot. Being here, we live in the Highlands, so a lot of the time we're out in the rain, inevitably, and it really helps having a pack that doesn't absorb water and helps to shed water and be largely water resistant. So that's a cool pack. It's a really simple pack. The way I've got it set up, it's just got a very thin waistband on it, and has one sternum strap and really not much else. So that's the pack. Right. The pack then gets used with this OMM chest pouch, which I clip onto the front of the pack, and I use to carry all of the things I'm going to want to hand and easy access throughout the day. Now, personally, I find that a really easy and useful setup to have, as opposed to having lots of different pockets, like waist belt pockets and everything else. I think it'd be fairly similar to having like a fanny pack. It's another quite good setup, but the chest pouch just works really well for me. So all of the things I might want, like snacks and your phone, and for filming, microphone, head torch, that kind of stuff tends to live in there, and I can get it out as I need it. You don't have to stop, you don't have to faff around, it can just be in and out really easily. So that's a piece of gear I've been using for a little bit now. Still pretty new to me, but I've used it on quite a few trips and I really like it. It works really well. Living in there, clipped in, is a little Silva micro compass. It's just an emergency one. It actually does work really well. For a tiny compass, it's amazing. It's still true north and does really well. So that's there for in case you need it. Hopefully you don't, but you never know. Over on this side then, I'll go to my waterproofs. That is an Arc'teryx Beta SL jacket, which is a hybrid jacket that uses both Packlight Plus and regular Gore-Tex, the standard Gore-Tex material together to create some positive breathability, but a more abrasion resistant material in the higher wear areas, like on where you might be wearing your pack on your back and shoulders. It's a really, really good jacket in that weight range. It's one of the best that I've found, and it also has pit zips, which I find to be really useful, because no matter how breathable a material is, there is always going to be a point where you just want to dump a lot of hot air or help to consistently have good airflow. So personally, I really like pit zips. I have jackets without pit zips, running jackets and stuff, but this for me is for hiking and for relatively poor conditions, a really, really good option. Paired with that, waterproof trousers are the Arc'teryx Zeta SL. They are good trousers. They are the older generation, so they're regular Packlight material. They're very light, and they are a good cut overall. I find that the adjuster for tightness that Arc'teryx use on the inside of the waist is not good, and personally I've changed it out, which was a nightmare, so I wouldn't recommend doing it. But yeah, I've had those for a long time now. They're actually coming to the end of their life really, but they're still going, so I'll keep using them. Other clothing, I've got a PhD Ultra Down Pullover. That's 1000 fill power down jacket. It's they rate it as good to -5 degrees. Depending on what layering you're using, you can use it down to at least that. It's extremely light for the jacket it is. PhD are a cool company. They make their stuff in the UK, and they do actually make custom stuff. If you want, you can hit them up and they'll make you like a custom sleeping bag or jacket. That is not a custom one, but yeah, they're a really cool company to check out. Other bits of clothing over here, I have got a balaclava from Icebreaker, a merino wool balaclava, lightweight one, helps to keep the wind off the face when you're cold up high on the mountains. And also when you're sleeping with a quilt, it can be really helpful for head warmth. Then I have got an Arc'teryx Row beanie, which is a really lightweight beanie. Just helps to keep your head warm. Again, I mostly use that for sleeping. I've got the Arc'teryx Venta AR gloves. They are an okay glove. They're a really well-made glove, but so they're lined with Gore-Tex Infinium, which is highly water resistant and windproof. But I have found with those gloves two very annoying things. One, they're not that water resistant. They actually tend to get very wet in wet weather, which is fair enough, they're not waterproof. And the other is that they have leaked black on my hands to the point where I've had stained hands from wearing them. So that's quite annoying. But they are a comfortable fit and they are a well-made pair of gloves. So yeah, it's one of them. And then I've got a thin pair of merino wool liner gloves for either bulking up the warmth when it's really cold or for using later on when I'm stopped in camp. So that covers off this chunk over here to my right. And we'll come down to the electronics that I'm taking with me. This is a little 10,000 milliamp power bank. I think this is an Anchor one. I think this is a PD 10,000, but we'll have all the stuff up on the screen for you so you'll know. And a small iPhone cable that I can recharge my iPhone. And I've got a Phoenix head torch here. I forget which one it is. And 2 spare batteries. These are high power batteries. And then I've got the Rode Video microphone for filming, with an iPhone adapter so I can plug it straight into the iPhone and film on it. And I've got the Ultrapod, little mini tripod, very lightweight, small tripod, so that you can get those shots that you might want where you want your phone to just stand on something or on the ground. You can also tape it onto a walking stick or anything like that. A walking stick? A pole. And I've got the Kestrel D1, which is a thermometer, a digital thermometer that you can, so you have an app on your iPhone, and you just connect to it and it will tell you what the temperature is, and you can log the data and you can change how frequently it refreshes. It's a really cool way to just see what the temperature is, what the air temperature is. And I like to know, like I'm a weather geek, I always like to try and figure out what temperature is and wind speed and other things. So that's quite a cool little thing to have with you. Coming over to this other side, we have got the trusty Terra Nova Southern Cross 2 tent. It is a full 4-season tent. It's pretty bomb-proof. Used it in all sorts of wind and weather. It's got a couple of extra guy lines that I've personally attached to it to give it a little bit more stability. When you're pitching up high in Scotland, you often get hit really hard by the wind. So you have to be ready for that. And you don't always want to drop down low. Sometimes you want to pitch high, either for views or because there just isn't a lot of space, or you're doing a route that you're going to have to, stay up high, and you don't want to be dropping down and then having to reascend. So I personally like to take an all-weather tent when we're in the mountains a lot of the time. Then I've got the pegs that go with it. So these are DAC V pegs. They're really good, and I've got a little pole repair sleeve as well, just in case, God forbid, one of the poles, touch wood, one of the poles should snap or anything. And then I've got the poles for the tent itself in a little lightweight DCF bag. Oh, I should say the tent itself is in a DCF dry bag, and the pegs are in a little DCF bag from Treadlight Gear. Really cool little UK company. I like keeping the tent in a dry bag because it lives inside my pack, and if I'm packing it way wet, I don't want it to make everything else wet. So by putting it into a dry bag, it contains all of the wet that might be on the tent right there inside that dry bag, which is cool. I've got a black diamond pole. I just take one pole. That's how I roll, one pole. I don't know why, it's just comfortable. I have multiple poles, but I personally tend to try and use my pole mostly when I'm on the ascent and sometimes on a fast descent, and I just find it easier. I don't know why. Hike your own hike, whatever suits. And I have over here my sleep system. I've got the Katabatic Gear Palisade quilt. It's a top-notch quilt. I highly recommend it. I've used quite a few quilts at this point, and that is probably one of the best quilts I've ever used. It is rated, Katabatic Gear rated to -1. It's a pretty conservative rating, particularly if you use it in conjunction with other things like your down jacket and your hat and your base layers. You can push it a lot. I have got a Neo Air X-Lite mat, medium length, which is difficult because I'm 6'2", so it's a little bit shorter than I am, but I tend to side sleep, so it kind of works and it saves weight, which is cool. And taped to that is my Katabatic Gear quilt attachment system, so I kind of taped it in place, it just lives there and it's really easy to use. It's the best quilt attachment system I've ever used. Really helps to keep it snugged in around you so you don't get any drafts or lose air. Smart water bottle for carrying your water. And I don't have a water filter here, you'll notice. That's because at the moment I'm using purifying tablets and largely drinking water fresh from the source. In the Scottish Highlands, we're very lucky that most places up high, personally, and I've don't recommend it if you don't want to try it, but the water is very pure and I really haven't had any issues with it. So it's one of those personal choices. I have used filters for the last 15 years. It's only just recently that I've kind of been trialing not using it, but I do have with us enough tablets for about 20 litres of water to be purified, which is way more than enough. So that's covered should we need it. Up here with the sleep system, I have a Zeta Summit pillow, comfy little inflatable pillow. I've got a pair of liner socks so I can get my feet into something nice and dry, and I have a pair of Cumulus down booties to keep my feet nice and warm at camp and inside my quilt when I'm sleeping at night. All of my sleeping kit lives inside a large Hyperlight mountain gear pod, and my other kit down here and extra bits live in a small Hyperlight mountain gear pod. They then will pack inside the pack and keep everything dry and organised. I just like stuff to be organised, and I like it to have an extra barrier because we get a lot of rainfall here and a lot of precipitation and humidity. Down here, iPhone 11, I use that as my main point for navigation and filming, as well as all sorts of other faffing about. I've got a first aid kit with my water purifying tablets and all the main sort of things you'd need. I can do a separate breakdown of what's in there for you guys if anyone wants me to. And I've got my cook kit, which I'll show you, and that has in it the Soto Windmaster stove, which is a brilliant stove that I love and use all the time. It's got in it a Evernew pot with a lid that I stole from something else. I think it's a Soto pot, and put on it. And it's got a little mini bit lighter in there, and a folding toke spoon, spork even, and a little piece of fabric for if the handles are hot and to help clean it out later on. And to be honest, that is the end of my setup, and it is really pretty refined. The total weight that it comes in at is very low. It's a comfortable carry. It all works well together with waterproofness. You can use a lot of these things. They have dual functions where possible. That's what I've tried to do. Just to say on the tent weight, obviously we split the tent weight 50-50. I don't carry the whole of the tent weight myself because, Megan is strong and powerful, so I like to make sure that she feels it. But that's it. If you've got any questions, hit us up in the comments. If you liked it, thumbs up. Please subscribe. Check us out on YouTube at Outdoor Intrigue. I'm always happy to hear everyone's views and opinions on gear and questions, etc. If you love hiking like me, then you probably love gear like me. So cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.